EVO. This series contains adult language and depictions of graphic violence. Listener discretion is advised. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, Criminal Mischief Nation, to another bonus episode of Criminal Mischief with Carolyn and Branden. I'm Branden, along with the great Carolyn Osorio, as always. Carolyn, how are you?
I'm doing fabulous. How are you?
Good. Congratulations being on YouTube. Big step for us. We're being dragged into the modern era of podcasting. You know what Seneca said, right? The fates will lead you to your destiny or drag you to it.
We're being dragged.
And here we are. But no, it's exciting.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yes. Congratulations.
Fun. Yeah.
How was your week?
I had an incredible week. I just found out. I just picked up my daughter and her now fiance.
Wow.
At the airport.
Wow.
Proposed to her in Thailand.
And you guys didn't know that it was coming? He didn't.
We knew it was coming, but like obviously it's a huge. Let me just tell you this. I really love the guy. He's amazing. He's great. He's got such a great sense of humor. You know, he cracks me up. Like he's everything that, I wanted it to happen, right?
How old are they?
It wasn't until Sophie is 24 and Garrett is 25.
It's exactly the same age my wife and I were when I proposed to her.
Okay. So it's good. Yeah. That's funny because we got married when I was 24. Okay, yeah. So we got married. Anyway, not about us. But so we went to this the sauna spa thing that we go to together. Like it was my daughter and Garrett and myself. And so we were all in the sauna. It's the dry sauna. He's on the top shelf and I'm getting up. And all of a sudden, and it's like super hot in there, of course, right? And out of nowhere, and my daughter was sitting next to him at the top, and out of nowhere, he just like tumbles to the ground. But he does Muay Thai, so he did this like weird tumble. But I didn't know if it was like, and his head almost hit the heater.
Yeah.
You know? And I didn't know if he was like, it was too hot and he lost his whatever.
Passed out,
yeah. But in that split second, it was almost like he was like as close as you could possibly get to a son. You know what I mean? My reaction, he's like he's like 6'2" and a big guy. And I literally was like, because my daughter, she couldn't get to him. And I was literally standing right there. And my feelings and my reaction, was like, that's when I knew like, yeah, this guy is like, I'm going to be happy to have him as a son-in-law.
Wow.
I'm very excited. Yeah.
That's great. Congratulations.
Yeah. And
is she your oldest child?
She's my oldest. Yeah. She's my oldest. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So she's the oldest, 20, 24, and then 11 is my youngest. So anyway, it'll be the first one that's getting married. So
getting hitched. Wow. That's congratulations. That's huge.
I know. It's absolutely huge. It's absolutely huge. But they're just great for each other. They've been sent. It's in Thailand. Actually, they went to Thailand and then went to Taiwan. And so that's where he proposed in this beautiful landscape. And it was just great. So it's good times.
All right.
Yeah. How about you? How was your week?
Awful. Almost had to evacuate twice from the apocalyptic hellscape that Los Angeles has been all week. Yeah. Sorry to bring it down, everybody. But
no, I think it's just like one of those things where it's like we've been at meetings where we've talked about it, and I just don't even know what to say to you.
No, it's really awful. It's really
so awful.
My city is suffering. It's bad. You don't need to hear it from me. It's been all over the news. But the fire never got closer than like 4 miles to us. But
just close.
Yeah, it's when I could see it from my house, the whole, the hillside. It's like, gosh, it's Jim Morrison, man. I see your hair is burning, hills are filled with fire, right? From LA Woman. That's shit. That was that.
That's scary.
LA Woman, we saw it, right? We saw it happening. So it's bad, and people are suffering everywhere, and we're my wife, the woman who's been doing my wife's hair for 20 years, she lost her house, so she's going to stay with us for a while. In the room I'm sitting in, that's a Murphy bed back there. Yeah. And this is like, it's got an ensuite bathroom, this room and everything, and the front door is right there. So it's really convenient for, a fucking refugee and why not? What else can we do, you know? So
That's amazing.
we've donated a bunch of shit. We're gonna foster some animals. And that's what's great about LA. It's you call the donation centers and they're like, we're full. Like we don't need any more stuff, right? Like we've got tons and mountains of socks and underwear, like brand new, and deodorant and toiletries and toothbrushes and clothes forever, and like bottles of water, mountains of bottles of water. So they have all that stuff. They just need now housing for people and for pets that are displaced. So, and my brother-in-law is a therapist. He's giving free sessions to people. We own a doggy daycare and dog grooming place, and we're giving free baths and free daycare to dogs that need it. So I mean, like everybody is doing like what they can. So
That's
um,
amazing. I'm so happy to hear that your wife's business wasn't affected.
no, 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 no.
That
It's
would have
but
been.
no, no, not at all. If anything, it's needed a lot, but it's just LA is. It's a great place. First of all, period, full stop. It's a great place to live. Second of all, unfortunately, we're used to crisis. You know, we've
Mhm.
had fires like this, not like this, but we've had bad fires. Malibu's burned to the ground. This is the third time since I've lived here. Uh, and the earthquake in '94, awful. We've had these massive mudslides because that's what you're going to hear next. All the burn areas, the first time it rains, there's going to be these massive mudslides because all the vegetation and the roots that hold the hillsides in place are gone, you know? And the Pacific Palisades, they're hills, they're cliffs, so
Well, there's not any houses on them anymore. So, I
oh
mean, that's
shit.
such a sad fact,
Fortunately, I know.
you know?
So it's been a really crazy week. Tomorrow it'll be a week. And the craziest thing is my brother lives in Santa Monica. He was in the set position for 3 days, meaning like you're ready to get for the go call. Um,
Hmm.
and he walks down his block and then across the street and then up to walk his daughter to school every day. And then after that, on his way home, there's this local spa, like with a sauna. He likes to sweat and cold plunge. And at 10, I have the text at 10:28 on Tuesday morning. He texted me a video. He goes, I think a fire just started in the Palisades. He was looking at it, put it on video. And then if you look, the first call for the fire came in at 10:33, 5 minutes later. Yeah. And then, but we had no idea, obviously,
I
no
mean,
idea.
it's the winds
That's
that
what
just
did it.
spark and then those
It
winds.
was a terrible, terrible, perfect storm. 70, 80 mile an hour, like sustained Santa Ana's blowing the fires.
So
Winds
where is it now? Are they tamped
it's
out or?
no, no, no. It's still really bad. Um, um, I think the Eaton fire in Altadena is like 30% contained. The Palisades fire, like maybe 15%. But that just means that they're still saving structures. They're not going after stopping the forward advance of the fire. They're still trying to save property. So, and the winds are supposed to pick up again tonight. So we'll see.
Oh, okay.
We'll
Well,
see. We'll see.
I'm so sorry that you've been going through that, but it sounds like you guys are really helping people out in any way that you can. And I
We're
think that from these types of situations, like that's the only kind of positivity is just how humans can be so good to each other, in
yeah,
times of
yeah.
struggle and strife like this. The human spirit endures, and the kindness of strangers.
Right.
It's like I know we always talk about human beings. We're always like humans are terrible. Like we've been talking about that a lot lately. But then
Yeah.
there's the flip side of that is in situations like this where humans are just so good to each other. And I hope
Yeah.
that, you know,
There's something that pisses me. I'm trying to not be all like the humbug about it, but like because they're doing good things, but then they have to post about it.
yeah,
Like, here
that's
I am, another trip to Walmart, getting more to just fucking do it,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. No, my mother-in-law taught me a lesson like when I was really young, and it just has stuck with me for the rest of my life. I haven't always been able to do it the way that she told me, but I do always think about that. But I mean, she was so great. She was like a social worker. She was just a really pure heart. And she told me this story about how she had this watch and it was like her favorite watch and it had all this sentimental value to it. And there was somebody on a bus or something and they needed a watch or somehow and she gave them the watch. And I was like, wow. And I said, but she told me this story she never told anybody
Right.
that she had given this watch to this person for whatever reason. There was a moment where it was like she felt compelled to do it. And she was telling me the story to give me the lesson because I needed to hear that lesson, and because I had gotten her this gift for Christmas when I was waiting tables and a struggling college student. And it was like $50, which was like, or $60, which was like how many tables did I have to wait to make that? And then I noticed my husband's brother had it in his room. And I'm like, wait a second, what the heck? And I said, why does he have this in his room? And that's when she told me that story. Like when you give something to someone, you give it freely.
Yep.
And I was like, why does he have that stereo?
It's funny. I have a funny watch story, and I wish I had it here. I don't know where mine is. So I worked at a very popular hotel for several years, and
Mhm.
inside the hotel was an even more popular restaurant, really exclusive and really a lot of celebrities and a lot of fucking craziness going on. And the guy, the maitre d', very rarely in your life can you meet someone who you can honestly say is the absolute best, like at what they do, right? There aren't a
Yeah.
lot of people I can say it, but this guy, his name was
You-
Dmitry Dimitrov. Okay.
Mhm.
He was the greatest maitre d' probably that ever walked the earth. Okay. He loved his job more than anyone I've ever seen love their job ever. He loved what he did. He was amazing at it. He was like an artist, right?
Mhm.
Where he would seat people next to this person. And here's a person who needs a job, and here's a producer looking to hire someone, and their tables wind up together. Like shit like that. Magical stuff would happen with him like every night. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, and people would have done documentaries on him and do whatever, whatever. Okay. And uh he wound up in a book of famous watches, right? And I didn't know why. And it's this book that's got, like Steve McQueen's Rolex Speedmaster, or, you know, what this World War II paratrooper, what, like whatever, right? And then like
Yeah.
right in the middle is Dmitry Dimitrov, and it's a $12 fucking Casio 1984. Okay. And I know I'd see him wearing the watch every night, right? And I just
Mhm.
thought, because he works in a restaurant, doesn't want to get it messed up, whatever, right? But there was
Mhm.
a story behind it.
Of
Okay.
course.
It was one night, years and years, like when he first was at the restaurant. So this is almost 20 years ago now. And they kept it really dark, right? Because it was intimate and there's,
Oh yeah.
movie stars and shit, whatever, right? And and someone asked him what time it was. And the watch that he had on, he couldn't tell because it was like some vintage old, like really nice gold expensive watch, and he couldn't see, right? And someone goes, "You need a watch that you can tell time at work. Come here." And the guy took it off his own wrist and put it on his, and the guy was Bill Murray. Okay.
I knew it was going to
Okay.
be someone good.
Right.
I thought it was going to be like Bill Gates or
No,
like,
and Bill
yeah,
Murray, who's got all the
yeah,
money in the world,
yeah,
wears these cheap watches
yeah.
so he could give them away. And that became one of Dimitri's prized possessions. And it wound up in this book
I
of
love that.
of world famous watches. Yeah.
That's
And he never
awesome.
told anybody. Like he and I were really, really close. And maybe because I never asked him, but he doesn't walk around going, Bill Murray gave me this watch. Like that's not
Well, I'm sure part of the reason he's so good at what he does is he knows how to keep his mouth shut and people trust him.
100%. As much as he loves to talk and drop names and all of that, which he does prolifically, okay, you
Mhm.
know that you could trust him with stuff, right? He
Yeah,
would
of course.
never compromise any trust or anything with anything. And I learned a lot from I learned a lot from the guy. Yeah, he's a great dude. Still at it. He
Really?
retired for a couple years and just wasn't happy and came back. 75, still doing it, still running shit. He's got to
Still running
guess.
the board?
Oh man, still running the board. He's got so many numbers in his phone that you wouldn't believe he could. I mean, Yeah. He's a great guy. He's a legend. Absolute
Mm,
legend. Yeah.
mm,
So anyway, well, that was nice. Little
mm.
distraction from a terrible week. Um, let's talk about the episode because right up my alley,
I,
it's how they get you.
you know what?
It's
Part of me was like, oh my gosh. You said in a previous episode where you're like, oh, yeah, don't worry. I give you story ideas, but okay, it's okay. And I'm like, okay. And then I thought, if I do this one, I know I'm never gonna not hear about it. I know I'm never, and so here we are.
it's how they get you.
Now you're on your platform.
Yeah. You know who I feel like? All right, Tom Hanks when he does Saturday Night Live.
Mhm.
He's great on Saturday Night Live. And he does this character on Black Jeopardy. Do you ever watch Black Jeopardy?
Yes.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Okay. He goes on there
That's like
as
Matthew McConaughey and
no, no, no.
oh
Black
no,
Jeopardy. It's
Sean
like
O'Connery. Sean o
no,
okay,
no,
go.
that's Celebrity Jeopardy when Will Ferrell does pretends to be Alex Trebek.
Yeah,
This is
yeah, yeah.
this is Black Jeopardy, right? Where
Okay.
it's black people and it's all of this like urban stuff. Like the categories are what I said was or he no you didn't, like that kind of stuff, right? And
Yeah,
that's like
yeah.
the answer. And so the
Mhm.
funny thing is they have Tom Hanks on there as like kind of like a MAGA, like kind of rednecky kind of guy.
Yes, I have seen
Okay.
that. Yeah, 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 yeah.
And the funny thing is that they're so similar, right? They're surprised that what he and one of the questions was the category is that's how they get you. All right. And the question was, hey, are you going to do those new DNA tests that everyone's talking about? Beep, 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 beep. Tom Hanks buzzes in. He goes, oh, no, no, no. That's how they get you. He goes, you're damn right. That's how they get you. That's how they, and everybody's like laughing and clapping. And so that's how they get you. And the girl said it perfect. She goes, how a DNA test is going to put my grandmother in jail.
This episode is sponsored by Manscaped. Valentine's Day is coming up, and if your man is looking a little more lost in the woods than leading man material in your love story, we need to talk about Manscaped and the Handyman. The Handyman is a sleek, powerful, compact face shaver that helps guys ditch that scruff. Because the Handyman is engineered with a unique dual blade system, which features both a standard foil shaver and a long hair trimming blade to handle up to 3 days of facial hair. And my husband loves the Handyman's skin safe technology, which helps reduce those nicks and cuts. So, no more battle wounds treated with little pieces of toilet paper, just a perfect, beautifully clean shave. So, the countdown to Valentine's Day is ticking down, and whether your guy is a grooming newbie or a seasoned pro, the Handyman in the special edition Rocket Man colorway is the perfect upgrade to his grooming regimen. And they have a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can try it risk-free. Give him the gift of grooming this Valentine's Day. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code MISCHIEF at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code MISCHIEF, MISCHIEF at manscaped.com.
There you go.
I mean, it's what's interesting, I think, is the backstory behind how the whole thing unfolded, which we didn't know. Because the headline came out that, oh, baby Garnet, the birth mother is identified and, she was arrested and she was going to be extradited from Wyoming to um,
Michigan.
Michigan.
Yeah.
And so we didn't have the context to know the backstory behind how a lot of these cases are solved. So I thought that that's what made it really, and then that she was, you know, kind of telling the story in a TikTok video as if she was putting her makeup on, and so it kind of made it like viral, and I can understand why. Um, but she had no connection to her grandmother. I wonder how she would feel if she actually was, really close to her grandmother.
Right. But it seemed like all she did, right, was spit in a cup,
Yeah,
spit in a vial, whatever, and send it
yeah,
off.
yeah,
And
yeah.
because of that, they got to her grandmother
They did, yes,
right.
and that's how they do it. Yes.
Right. And that's not what she signed up. That's what I'm saying. It's not what she signed up for. It's not in the fine print that like we could use this to find murderers in your family.
Well, I think that we're now beyond that. It's already the cat's out of the bag. People know, like, I mean, she wanted to help. She wanted to help. She wasn't somebody who was concerned about her privacy. It feels like she was like, no, I want to help. She got weirded out when they were asking for her password, which
Right.
is,
Here's the question. Here's the
yeah,
question that I have.
yeah.
Take the DNA technology out of it. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
If someone came up to you, if the police came up to you and said, um, would you be willing to help get a blood relative arrested?
It depends on what the circumstances were, but yes, if they committed a crime and they it really depends on. I'm not saying it would be easy or that I wouldn't have to think about it and I wouldn't just automatically trust the police. That I would need to know the story. I would need to know what was going on.
That's
I
all
mean,
you know. That's all you know. Would you help get a blood relative arrested?
I can't just answer. It's not
Oh,
just
yeah,
like
see?
that. It's
Yeah.
not just like that. I'm not, that's not me. I wouldn't just be like yes or no. I would need to know more.
Okay.
I would need to know. So you're just basically, look at you, get
Oh, okay.
that tongue down.
No, that's fine. All right.
So you're saying that no matter who it was, if they came and asked you for your help, you'd be like, no.
Correct.
I
Correct.
think, but is that because you want to protect the relative at all costs or because of your fervent belief in
Loyalty. Loyalty.
stop? Even if they were
So,
a serial
listen,
killer? Are you kidding me?
I'll go talk to him. Hey,
Oh
knock
my
that shit off
God.
right now. No, listen.
I don't believe you. I totally, if you had a
Basically,
serial killer,
that's what you're saying yes to blindly when you do these DNA tests.
okay, you don't get to school me because I'm not someone who is like, we've talked about, you need to remember that I'm on the same page as you.
Doesn't seem like it.
No, because like what you said, like with the Luigi Mangione, how you're like, hey, you don't get to
That
just
piece
go
of
up
shit.
behind and shoot someone. If somebody in your, I know you, if somebody in your family went up and just randomly shot somebody in the back, you would not want to protect them. I don't believe that.
Like immediate family?
Wait a second, you just said any family. Loyalty,
Blood
loyalty.
family. Blood family. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
you're saying, I don't believe you.
Let them get caught somewhere else. I wouldn't actively, I wouldn't lie for them. Okay. I
Mhm.
wouldn't lie for them, but I wouldn't proactively try to get them arrested. That's just me. I
Okay,
don't know.
well, you're not proactive if someone comes to your doorstep.
You're
You,
pro
the
See what I'm saying?
parameters
Hold
with
on.
which
What
you
I'm
asked
saying,
me. Okay.
what I'm saying is that you're skipping right to proactive when you give your DNA. Okay, because they could draw a straight line to a blood relative of that person if that person has a blood relative who happens to be a murderer that left their DNA at a crime scene that implicates them.
Right. And there's a lot of people who, okay, well, I think this is where it gets complicated
Yeah,
because a lot of people, like um, Jarrett said, they got into this for the genealogy
sure,
and they got into it because they maybe wanted to find their birth parents,
sure.
right? Okay.
I get the
So,
virtuous reasons for doing it and the curiosity, and it's a
yeah.
goof and it's a novelty. I understand that. I think that that what they don't put in the brochure, okay, are
Mhm.
these unintended consequences, and it's become something that a lot of people didn't sign up for.
Exactly. And so
Yeah,
that's why when I spoke to Jared, and that's why I wanted to add the second part to the episode because you were right when I said when I didn't ask deeper questions. And I think
uh,
that what?
when you were fangirling over Paul Holes, yeah. Ugh, okay.
Okay. You know what? I see, here's the thing about me is that I can actually go back and upon reflection, okay?
You're like the true crime god. And you're like, oh,
Okay, no, that's not true. What you're failing to realize is that I got caught up in just like I said before, 24 years not giving up. As somebody who watches documentaries and who has read biographies and autobiographies my whole life for inspiring characters, people who have grit and courage and like I that always speaks to me. I mean, I just love that story. I love it.
He's a very impressive man, without question.
Yeah, so to have that for 24, and then the flip side of that is always like what you lose by having that kind of great, he, had kind of sacrificed his family. And so it's like, even though I look up to people who are like that, I also know on the other scale of that, there's also, you give up a lot of stuff. And so I think there's that balance in life that's really important,
Agreed.
to be so, um, and that's something I struggle within myself, and I always want to keep my eye on the ball when it comes to stuff like that. So anyway, yes, I admit I got a little fangirl. Okay. Okay. But I do want to, ask questions when I should. And that's why I wanted to, I think that it's important I feel like I didn't ask questions about the history of it, which I feel like they're now resolved. The questions that you had, like kind of
Yeah.
how it happened, you know?
Listen, it happens to the best of us. I was sitting at this desk one time and I got to interview John Bon Jovi for a different project I was working on. And I got to like two questions, and the rest of the time I was like, I saw you at the LA Coliseum once. Oh my God, you were so great. Could you sing Living on a Prayer?
You didn't do that. You did not do that. You would never do that. But I get it. You got caught up in it. I understand.
Really caught up in it. We just
Yeah.
started talking about New Jersey because we're both from New
Oh
Jersey.
my gosh. I don't even want to. I'm sure you had your hat on your head and
It
you
was,
were like,
yeah, it was great. He was the greatest person to ever live. There you go. I
mhm,
said it, John Bon Jovi.
mhm.
Anyway, so no, so listen, it happens, and I'm mostly just breaking your balls, but
I knew that you were, but I
yeah,
still wanted
yeah,
to do it. I
I
still
know.
want, I think that it was a valid thing to say, although at the time I was like,
Up yours.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Look, that's the New Jersey state motto. You know what it is, right? I'm just breaking balls. That's the New
Yeah.
Jersey state
Now
motto.
I do. Now I do. Now I say that. And I'm like, I think my daughter heard me say that and she was like, Mom,
Oh, I'm sorry. Jesus Christ.
she was
I'm
like,
sorry.
I know. I know. I know. Anyway. Um
Wow. Wow. All right. So what I need to, I have a serious question now. In the
okay.
state of Michigan, um, like compare Michigan to California. What is the equivalent of open murder in
You know what?
California?
I was so curious about that too. I'm
Yeah.
sure life sentence is going to mean like 15 years.
So like murder
But
one, is it like,
I think, yeah, it's murder. I think I mean, this is total speculation because I didn't look it up, but I was
oh,
like
okay.
open, open murder, and then I just didn't have time to
Okay.
do it. But um or I didn't make time, I should
Where
say.
does the case stand now?
Well, from what I last heard, the judge is waiting to decide if the case should be dismissed
Mm.
or if they're going to move forward with it.
Because
Because
it's a very, very compelling and interesting defense.
yeah,
Really compelling, really interesting defense.
yeah.
And it breaks my heart to even think about it. But um, if they can't prove that the child was born alive, they don't have much of a case. And you have to believe her that she was in the bathtub. Okay.
Hmm. Yep.
And that's how they figure out drowning victims if there's water in their lungs,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
That's how they know they were alive when they went in the water. So they should be able to figure it out that
Well,
way.
they couldn't figure out cause of death because
Right.
of um the state of the remains. And
Right.
so
So she's
they
probably
can't.
going to walk. Then it just becomes
I mean, I think it becomes like a legal thing. It's
right.
not kind of how we feel about it.
Right.
It's kind of legally
Where
what.
it gets murky is that she didn't, is what she did afterwards. And now I have no idea what that trauma or shock would be like and how that would affect your rational kind of decision making. Okay. But throwing the kid in a bag and then in, a campsite sewer, whoa, there's two ways to look at that. Either she was so emotionally wrecked that
Mhm.
it led her there, or she was trying to hide a crime and led her there. Like
Well, and I
I
think,
could make a case either way.
and they're if the trial does go forward, the defense is trying to get any of her all of her statements like thrown out because she
Right.
talked about wanting to get
Wanting an abortion, not going to
abortion.
prenatal
Yeah,
care, like
yeah,
all of that made her seem like an irresponsible pregnant woman who didn't want to be pregnant. If
yeah. I mean,
it's how those statements could be spun to a jury.
yeah,
Based on
absolutely.
that.
I mean,
Right.
it's hard to reconcile, at least for me, and this is my opinion, but carrying a child for 40 weeks gestation, 38
Yeah.
to 40 weeks,
You're
full term.
planning on having the kid.
Well, no, I mean, not necessarily. Like, is it that she just kept not, I mean, just give it up for adoption. Give the baby up for an adoption.
Sure.
But then it's like, well, was there going to be a societal pressure in that community I
Right.
mean, it's just, there's just so many unknowns because like the easiest, or not the easiest thing, but like the thing to do would have been just to give the baby up for adoption. You know, you've already carried her
Right.
full term.
Was she already a mother at this point? Or would this be her
Um,
first pregnancy?
I don't think it was her first pregnancy because I was tracking back if she's 58 when she was arrested and that happened in 1997. I think that puts her at like
That's 30
33.
years prior.
So I
Oh,
think
gotcha. Yeah.
like yeah, so like 25 years had elapsed. So she's like in her early 30s.
Yeah.
So um I don't, and I think that Jenna's mother, I think I read Jenna was the one that the granddaughter. Her mother, I believe, I think she
And the
said was
granddaughter's already old
42.
enough to be making snarky TikToks.
Yeah,
So,
so the mother is, I think I read somewhere that the mother was 42. So I think that,
wow.
so yeah,
So this was not her first pregnancy then,
this was not
probably.
her, based on the quick math that we just
Yeah.
did, I don't believe this was her first pregnancy.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not used
you
to
know,
having to do
she's
math.
not a teenager, a young
Right.
teenager on her own. I mean, just the whole, I mean, I absolutely believe that that was traumatic for her. Like delivering your own baby,
And it's surprised, like she wasn't ready for it. She was alone
I mean, alone
at home.
at home.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
tough.
that's just
Really,
like
really tough. Really,
can't
really
even
tough.
imagine.
Right.
But, you know, like what you said, what she did afterwards, you know, disposing of the baby in that way, like
Yeah.
what would make a person do that?
Whew. Well, keep us in the loop on this case as it moves
I
forward
will.
if it goes to trial.
I
Uh,
did send an email to the prosecuting attorney's office to find out if the judge had made a decision, and I just didn't find it anywhere
yeah.
to see if I'm sure there would have been an announcement, but I'll definitely keep you posted.
Okay.
Okay.
And resist the urge, people.
Okay, you're not going to be one of those. Oh my gosh.
Resist, resist the urge.
I don't have to describe
Like, do
your
you really need
facial
to
I
know
don't have to
how
describe your facial
Irish you
expressions
are?
anymore because we're on YouTube and people can see what you do with your face
Do
when
you
you're on
really
your
need to know?
moral high ground.
You really need to know. Hey, how Greek am I? How Irish is this? Or how like, who gives a shit? Just it's fine. Just go live your life. Don't make it easy for people to invade your privacy. That's all. Okay, fine. I'm off my soapbox. Um,
Okay, fine. Okay,
this
fine.
this really good episode. I feel vindicated. I will keep sending you stories that put me in
Yeah.
a
I
positive
think you
light constantly. And there's going to be a lot of them. No,
Mhm.
but this was. I like when you pull on a thread from something that I send you. That's a nice feeling. So well done. Thank you. If you
Thank you.
enjoyed the episode, people, share it with a friend. Go over to Apple Podcasts and rate and review the show. It helps like crazy. And consider supporting these great companies that support us. When you hear Carolyn and myself reading one of these ads, we're able to continue with the show because of those great companies. So think about it. And until next time, Carolyn, anything you'd like to add?
You know, I want to give a shout out. I'm not going to say who the person is, but my husband's one of his coworkers. She recently sent him a screenshot, and her number one show, her number one podcast for 2024 was Criminal Mischief. And it was just so like, it's not like it's this person I talk to all the time. Like, if I see her, it's like, oh my gosh, we've invited them over for like, gatherings and things. But but it was so cool. It was so great. So anyway, I just not only do I appreciate her, but we really do when we say thank you so much. I always say that at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
You always say it at the end of the bonus episode. We really do appreciate, people listening and continuing to put up with our
Yeah.
crazy banter in this bonus content. So thank you very much.
All right. And listen, LA is suffering. So if you can donate to the American Red Cross or,
Absolutely.
give to, foster dogs, foster pets, let someone sleep on your couch, kind of do what you can.
From Cloud 10, Criminal Mischief is a pie-in-the-sky production recorded in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. We're produced by Brandon Morgan and myself. Music by Soundstripe. I'm Carolyn Osorio, your writer and host.